Welcome everyone to my Tesla earnings preview. Very excited to take a look at this ticker with you to help you get prepared for what potentially is coming for Tesla stock this Wednesday when they report earnings. And we know that this is going to be something that does have an impact on the broader markets. As we can see here, Tesla is going to be reporting Wednesday, July 23rd, and that will be at market close around 4 p.m. And if we just take a look at where we are right now, we could see that we have this upper trend line resistance that if we go back to the all-time highs that it made in December when it was near $500, it really has struggled to break that. And if it does, that's when it can run, because you could see above that, there is thin volume on the VRVP, but every time it gets up into this range, it gets rejected. And so that's what it's going to have to demonstrate off of its earnings report, that it can break that upper trend line resistance. If it can, there is some opportunity for momentum there. And if we just take a look at the moving averages, what we have in front of us, you can see there's quite a bit of support here with the 50 daily below us. We have the 200 SMA daily below us, the 50 weekly, the 100 daily, and then you have some longer term moving averages down here, the weekly 50, we have the 100 weekly and the 200 weekly. So there is quite a bit of support below here on Tesla. And the only thing that could push through those strong long-term moving averages is news. And so if we are going to get a precipitous drop, it's going to come off of earnings. And what do you know? Earnings just happens to be here on Wednesday. And just some of the other things we have to take into consideration here, as the Tesla brand has taken a hit over the last several months with Elon Musk's involvement in government, his work with DOGE, the Department of Governmental Efficiency. We've seen backlash against Tesla, the company, boycotts against the vehicles. And so that has hurt sales, that has hurt popularity of the brand. And more than likely in the report, we're going to see that reflected in the sales, in the numbers, in the figures. And so that is something that we have to take into consideration. From that perspective, just from the vehicle business alone, there's really nothing positive to hang their hat on for Tesla. What is going to have to happen is autonomous driving, the Robotaxis that they just launched in Austin, Texas, that there is success there. That's moving along faster than what they anticipated. That's going to have to be something that's reported, number one. And number two, there has to be an update on the Optimus Robots, that they are further along than anticipated and expected. And if they could get those two things, there is opportunity for upside movement on Tesla, because it just doesn't look like the vehicle component is going to be there. If there is good news around Robotaxi, autonomous driving, and Optimus, then we can move higher. So that's really what it's going to boil down to. And so keep that in mind as we prepare for earnings. So if we come back over here, this was April 22nd, following the big dump. We could see that there was support found down around that 216 area. But here on earnings, they did have a gap higher. So from 237 up to this high, this upper wick, 259. So there was a gap up there, and then that triggered a push higher on Tesla where it encountered that upper trend line resistance. And then this drop here is whenever the Musk-Trump feud began. So the last time they reported, we had a gap up. If we go to the previous time they reported, this was in January. We are right here. We did get a gap up from 389. Let's go to the top of this wick to 412, but it couldn't hold that. It did push higher the next day, but then it dropped down. So we did get the gap up because it did hold above where it opened. So we had another gap up there in January. Now let's come back to last fall. So this is October 23rd, and you could see we were down here at 213.88. And what did we have here? We had a gap up. All right, let's get to that upper wick. $49 move, 23%. and that held that push, retested into the 10 and then went higher. So we have a gap up here from fall of last year, gap up. And the last time that we had a gap down on earnings for Tesla, so we have to go back to July of last year. Uniquely, we're in July right now, so we can see here's the close at 245.53 on earnings. It gapped down and closed at 216.19, so there was quite the move down here. So we're going to put gap down. Out of the last 4 reports, the last 3 consecutive reports have been gap ups. Last summer, when they reported in July, it was a gap down. And this was April, this was a gap up as well. So just in terms of probabilities, Tesla is due for a move down on earnings because it's gapped up the last 3 times. If we're sheerly looking at this from a probability perspective, and when you connect that to what is going on with Tesla vehicles and the sales being down, it seems like the opportunity is ripe for a move lower. Now, if we go back to 2023 in the summer earnings report that is right here, you could see the same thing, gap down. So summer, at least the July, August timeframe is not kind to Tesla. So will it be a gap down? It would make sense. It has been pushing higher here, but really there's nothing positive to push this thing up. And it's really all going to be dependent on what they say about Optimus, what they say about Robotaxi. Elon Musk is notorious for being hyper optimistic about his products and their successes or when they're going to hit the market, only to disappoint later on when that doesn't happen. The Cybertruck is a great example. That date just kept getting pushed back and pushed back. So if that's the case with Optimus, Robotaxi, we're going to come lower. But if there is some positive update, we can push higher. So in terms of bull and bear case, where can this thing drop to if we gap down? Again, we are above all the moving averages. So if there's anything positive here, this thing could push pretty significantly, but it's going to have to take out this upper trend line resistance. And you could see here up at 362.65, that's really the last line of defense for the bears on the VRVP. If it gets squeezed through that, it has room up into the 400s. Again, can it do that? That's what we have to see. The proof will be in the results. It'll be interesting to hear Musk's take on in the earnings call about the future of the company, his focus on the company, what he has to say about Optimus, what he has to say about Robotaxi. But in terms of a bullish move higher, we just looking at what we have here, again, we have this thick volume node right here. Probably where we would hit some resistance would be 362. So that could be a nice move of about $33. So we'll say that this is our bull case right here. Bull case, let's just put 362. Let's make that an even number. So that's the price area that I want to watch. What does it do here? And again, that will line up with its most recent high. If we go back to May, does it encounter some resistance? Does it chop along there? Or does it shoot through that? Is there more that's going to be, again, are there things that people are getting excited about that know behind the scenes that Tesla is about to announce? You never want to bet against Elon Musk. And so this is the price area to watch. If it's really strong, if they've made great strides with Optimus, if they've made great strides with Robotaxi, it will clear that 362 with ease. And I could see it going into the 380s, but there's a lot of ifs and buts and questions around that. What is more likely, and again, Tesla is such a contrarian ticker that it does the opposite of what you expect and the opposite of what the market does. But just looking at everything, you would have to think this one is going to fall, that it's going to come lower just because the vehicle sales have been poor, the negative sentiment around the company, that they're not going to announce anything exciting or promising about Optimus or Robotaxi. And really, if this thing drops further, there is lots of support down here. And if we just go from this 328 price range where we are right now, the area where it should bounce will be that 100 SMA on the daily. That's 293.45. So I'm going to actually put this next to my 100 SMA on the daily. This is the bear case for earnings. and we'll see if it comes down to this area. So that's going to be, again, 293. So let's just say 293 bear case, 362 bull case. There's a lot that's going to factor into this. For me right now, the way I'm leaning into this earnings report is that it's going to be a bearish move, but earnings are unpredictable, and I am wrong oftentimes, but for me, the edge lies to the downside because of everything that I have mentioned thus far. But this will be one that I'm watching. If, let's say that Musk comes out and says, yes, the Optimus robots are going to be ready for production in December, or Robotaxi is going to expand starting in October, those are the things that will push this higher. And that's what we want to pay attention to. That's what's going to send this thing. If we don't get that news, that combined with what will be brand damage to the Tesla company, weak sales, we are dropping. And so logic says right now, we are headed lower on Tesla on earnings. I don't think too many people would argue against that, but keep in mind, this is Tesla. It does Tesla things, what you don't expect, and it is going to be a lot of fun. So let me know your take down in the comments. Is Tesla moving higher on earnings? Is it moving lower? Are they going to announce an update about Optimus or Robotaxi that sends this thing, or are we headed down? And are we going to fill this little gap down here around 243? To keep your eye on that. That would have to be some really negative things happening with this company for it to come down there, but it can. So let me know in the comments. Appreciate you watching. Thank you so much for your support. Make it a great day, everyone.